The crystalline soil crunched under my boots like brittle sugar, which would have been charming if 5 long-eared alien women hadn't been staring at me as though I'd wandered in wearing a clown suit. Their colony shimmered behind them, arches of violet metal, floating lanterns, and walkways that pretended gravity was optional. But none of that distracted them from their favorite new activity, mocking the lost Earthling who had asked, very politely, where the nearest exit was. The tallest one stepped forward, her long ears flicking upward like flags catching wind. "This is the mighty Earth warrior," she asked her friends, who burst into laughter so synchronized it had to be rehearsed. "He looks like he needs assistance lifting his own backpack." "For the record," I said, adjusting the straps digging into my shoulders, "Earth gravity is much heavier. We're extremely strong where I come from." The one with turquoise markings tilted her head. "Is that why you look like you're negotiating a peace treaty with your spine?" More laughter. One even wiped tears from her eyes. Alien tears, they shimmered. Rude, I inhaled, exhaled, reminded myself I was an ambassador of humanity and absolutely not allowed to scream. "Look, I'm just here to deliver a message. If someone could direct me to your leader, administrator, head ear." That earned me a series of sharp snorts. Their language didn't seem to include giggling, only weaponized amusement. The shortest among them, whose ears curved like crescent moons, circled me as though I were a puzzle missing half its pieces. "He brought a pack," she said. "Maybe there are snacks. Humans carry snacks, yes. Perhaps that is the weapon the scans mentioned." "Oh, absolutely," I muttered. "Behold the legendary Earth granola bar of devastation." They laughed again, loud enough that I wondered if their planet required humor as an energy source. I shifted my weight, hoping to regain even a pinch of dignity, but my boot sank an extra inch into the glittering sand, which didn't help my case. Another one leaned forward. "We thought humans were dangerous, but he appears soft." "Soft?" I repeated. "I'll have you know humans can be incredibly intimidating." Turquoise markings raised a brow ridgeline. "Demonstrate." "No," I said firmly. "Intimidation requires context, lighting, theme music." As they dissolved into another wave of laughter, the ground suddenly trembled beneath us. The deep rumble carried through the crystalline crust like rolling thunder trapped underground. Shimmering dust rose around our feet. The alien women's ears snapped upright in perfect unison. Finally, something that wasn't mockery. "Seismic alert." Crescentiers whispered. The tallest pressed her wrist panel. "The scanners report an approaching anomaly, unidentified mass, possibly hostile." Their laughter died instantly. All 5 turned toward the horizon, their expressions tightening with seriousness and something that looked a lot like worry. I had seen that expression before, usually right before someone realized they'd forgotten to unplug a nuclear reactor. That was my moment. I straightened my posture, lifted the heavy pack, and unlatched the magnetic seal. A cool hum spilled into the air. The aliens glanced back at me, curiosity edging out their alarm. Turquoise markings frowned. "What is that sound?" I drew out the compact energy cannon, its surface pulsing with soft blue light that rippled along its length. The atmosphere bent faintly around the barrel as the power core warmed. The weapon hummed like a small star trapped inside a cylinder, precise, dangerous, and absolutely not a granola bar. The tallest woman's eyes widened. "That is not standard Earth technology." "Oh, this?" I said casually, hoping the slight wobble in my voice didn't betray me. "Just a little something we've been working on. It can vaporize a shuttle hull or toast a sandwich. Multi-purpose." They stared, this time silently, reverently, and maybe a little fearfully. Crescentiers stepped closer, eyes locked on the glowing energy spiral. "You carry this casually, on your back." "Well," I said, "I also carry deep emotional baggage, but the weapon's easier to show off." For the first time, none of them laughed. They exchanged serious glances, their ears angled sharply toward each other, as if transmitting thoughts through invisible channels. The tallest woman looked at me with a newfound depth. "Earthling, That anomaly approaching our colony is beyond our current defense capacity. But your weapon could help, I finished. Yeah, I figured we were heading that way. Turquoise markings exhaled slowly. We misjudged you. Oh, don't worry, I said. Humans are used to that. We look squishy until something threatens us. Then we remember we're descendants of small mammals that survived dinosaurs through pure stubbornness. That earned a single cautious smile, just one, but I considered it a diplomatic victory. The rumble grew louder. The horizon shimmered with a dark shape rolling toward us. The alien women shifted into formation, their confidence returning as they assessed the threat. I stepped beside them, lifting the energy cannon onto my shoulder. If it makes you feel better, I said, I'm only mildly terrified. Only mildly, the tallest asked, startled. Well, I added, I'd be more terrified if I hadn't met you all first. Their ears lowered in something like embarrassment, or possibly guilt, hard to read. We faced the growing shadow together, the air tightening with tension. But between the vibrating ground, the alien war cries forming around me, and my weapon buzzing like an angry beehive, I had one undeniable thought. At least they weren't laughing anymore. The anomaly didn't strike immediately. It lingered at the edge of the horizon like a storm that couldn't decide whether to ruin our day or come back tomorrow. Which, frankly, gave the alien women far too much time to interrogate me. One moment we were preparing for danger. The next, they were circling me again, long ears twitching with curiosity like curious cats equipped with antenna upgrades. Crescentiers leaned close to the energy cannon humming on my shoulder. It responds to your neural patterns. That is not possible. Humans are barely capable of synchronizing with basic hollow panels. That was one time, I said. The panel was confusing. Turquoise markings tapped a floating screen projected from her wrist. Your brain waves are irregular. I frowned. Irregular how? Chaotic, unpredictable, extremely messy. So normal for me. They exchanged looks that suggested they were reconsidering me not as a threat, but as a walking biological mystery. The tallest gestured for me to follow, and we moved toward the colony's heart, a maze of archways, shimmering corridors, and floating platforms that shifted position whenever they felt like it. I stepped onto one cautiously, and it immediately rose several meters into the air. I screamed, purely for dramatic effect. The alien women didn't even flinch. Apparently this was normal for them. For humans, not so much. Why does it move without warning? I shouted over the rushing air. It reacts to weight distribution, the tallest answered calmly. Weight distribution, I'm not a sack of potatoes. Potatoes, Crescentiers repeated, are those dangerous? Only when mashed aggressively, I muttered. The platform delivered us to a wide chamber glowing with soft teal light. Strange pulsating crystals lined the walls, humming with energy. A central console hovered in the air, projecting a rotating model of the approaching anomaly. It looked like a swirling ball of metallic vines, expanding and contracting like a giant mechanical lung. That thing is alive? I asked. In a manner, Turquoise Marking said. It consumes energy, all energy. Like my Uncle Veli at family dinners, I murmured. Guy drains portable generators just by existing. None of them reacted, I sighed. Intergalactic humor clearly needed a translator. They studied the hologram while I adjusted the cannon, which was still humming like an overeager pet ready to chase cosmic squirrels. Crescentiers hovered beside me. Your weapon, can it interface with our defense grid? Yes, technically, I said, but I'd need access to your power conduits, and written permission, and maybe protective gloves, and possibly a fire extinguisher. We do not use fire, she said. Then something equivalent to extinguish heat, smoke, explosions. They looked increasingly confused. The tallest woman motioned toward a side chamber. Come, we will show you the conduits. I followed them into a narrow crystalline hallway where the walls vibrated faintly. The conduits ran beneath transparent panels, streams of energy flowing like glowing rivers, branching and merging with complicated patterns. I kneeled down and opened the pack again, retrieving a few tools that humanity had proudly named Universal Interface Modules. They were basically glorified adapters. Turquoise markings watched with fascination. These appear primitive. They are, I said, but they work. I pressed one module to the conduit panel, and the cannon responded instantly. Its light brightened, energy pulsing in perfect sync with the colony's flow. The aliens jumped back, ears flaring upright. "How did you do that?" the tallest asked. "Honestly," I said, "accident, but let's call it skill." The cannon vibrated harder, the internal mechanism whirring like a turbine waking from a nap. Crescentier stepped closer, tentatively touching the glowing rim. "It feels alive." "Great," I said. "Now I'm responsible for a sentient weapon." Before they could analyze further, alarms boomed through the corridor, low, heavy notes reverberating through the crystalline structure. The holograms on the walls flashed red. The anomaly was accelerating. Turquoise markings tapped her wrist panel. "Impact in 6 minutes." "Impact," I repeated. "We're not dodging, negotiating, offering snacks." "This entity does not negotiate," she said. "It devours." They rushed toward the main plaza, pulling me along. The colony buzzed with activity. Alien citizens sprinting across floating walkways, drones swarming overhead, defense pylons rising from the ground like metallic trees waking from centuries of sleep. The cannon throbbed with power. My arms tingled, my stomach clenched, not from fear, well, a little from fear, but mostly from the realization that I had become the colony's last hope contingency plan. Me. A man who once tripped over a recycling bin. The tallest woman placed a hand on my shoulder. "Earthling, we mocked you. We underestimated you. But now—" "Please don't say I'm your only hope," I interrupted. "That's too much pressure." She paused. "You are one of our hopes." "Better." The shadow of the anomaly expanded overhead, descending like a metallic storm cloud. Its tendrils whipped through the air, absorbing sunlight and crackling with energy. The alien women activated their arm-mounted emitters, weaving a protective energy net around the plaza. I lifted the cannon. The cannon lifted my confidence. "Well," I muttered, "time to impress people who think potatoes are weapons." The first tendril struck the shield, sending a shockwave that rattled the colony. The alien women braced themselves. I aimed, feeling the cannon lock onto the threat with a soft mechanical purr. "All right, big guy," I whispered to the weapon. "Let's make this look intentional." And with a surge of blinding blue light, I fired. The cannon's blast tore through the air like a streak of concentrated daylight, slamming into the creature's metallic vines. The impact rippled through its body, sending radiant shockwaves across the sky. The anomaly shrieked, not with sound, but through a pulse that rattled my bones and made my teeth feel like they were vibrating into another dimension. The alien women staggered from the force, their long ears folding instinctively like organic shields. "It felt that," the tallest woman said, steadying herself against a hovering pylon. "That's good," I replied. "Means we're not completely doomed, only partially doomed. Progress." The creature responded with a surge of tendrils whipping downward, striking the colony's defense net. Cracks of bright red energy split across the shield, trembling dangerously. Drones exploded in small pops of light above us, blinking out one by one. Turquoise markings gestured frantically. "We cannot withstand many more hits." "Right," I said. "Then we should probably make sure it doesn't get the chance." The cannon throbbed in my grip. Each pulse synced perfectly with the flow of the colony's conduits, which meant my little accidental interface earlier had evolved into a full-blown power-sharing link. The weapon glowed brighter, the light sliding along its surface like it was breathing. I steadied my stance and fired again. The beam cut through one of the creature's massive coils, sending shards of metallic debris spiraling into the stratosphere. Crescentiers shouted over the echoing energy. "Your aim has improved." "I've discovered it helps not to close your eyes," I yelled back. The creature reared, its body expanding until it blotted out half the sky and lunged toward us with a monstrous surge. The shield flickered, its last threads trembling like overstretched wires. I felt panic rising, a cold rush that whispered we weren't fast enough, not strong enough. But the cannon pulsed again, hard enough to numb my fingers, and I realized something. It wasn't just sinking with the colony, it was sinking with me. My thoughts, my intent, my desperate need to keep these aliens, who had mocked me, questioned me, but ultimately believed in me, alive. "All right," I murmured to the weapon. "Let's finish this before I lose feeling in my arms." I stepped forward, planting my feet, and let the cannon draw from every conduit in reach. The ground glowed beneath me. Light raced across the walkways. The entire colony brightened as its energy poured into the weapon through me. For one terrifying moment, I felt like a human fuse. "Earthling," the tallest shouted, "you cannot take that much energy. Your body already does stupid things daily." I yelled, "This is nothing new." The creature dove, I fired. The sky exploded in white-blue brilliance. The beam met the creature head-on, piercing straight through its core. The metallic vines shuddered, shook, and then disintegrated into a cascade of shimmering particles that rained down like cosmic glitter. The shockwave knocked me backward, and I hit the ground hard enough to make the stars above wobble. When the last fragments faded, silence washed over us. The shield collapsed gently. The lights dimmed. The colony exhaled. I lay on my back, chest heaving, arms trembling like overcooked noodles. Crescentiers appeared above me, blinking in surprise. "You are alive." "Barely," I croaked. "If anyone asks, I did it with grace." The tallest woman helped me sit up. Her long ears drooped in something like relief. "Earthling, we owe you our survival." "Good," I said weakly, "because I'm going to need someone to carry me." They did, quite literally. Two of them lifted me under the arms, unnecessarily roughly, I might add, and brought me back into the colony's central plaza. The destruction was minimal. The drones were already repairing themselves. The defense pylons retracted. The air smelled faintly of hot metal and victory. As I rested against a crystalline pillar, turquoise markings knelt beside me, analyzing both me and the cannon. "Your neural patterns have stabilized," she said. "That sounds impossible." "It is, yet here you are." I glanced at the weapon. Its glow had settled into a soft, steady pulse, as if it had taken a nap after all that cosmic chaos. "Guess we make a good team," I murmured. Crescentier sat beside me, ears angled upward with curiosity. "You were afraid," she said, "but you still acted." "That's sort of what humans do," I said. "We panic, complain, make questionable jokes, then hope no one notices how terrified we were." "We noticed," she said gently, "but we also saw your courage." That hit harder than the blast wave. The tallest woman approached and offered her hand. "If you are willing, we would like to formally welcome you as an ally to our colony, perhaps even a friend." I took her hand. "I'd like that, though I'd appreciate less teasing next time." "No promises," she said deadpan. I laughed. So did they, softly this time, not sharp or mocking, just warm. When they finally escorted me toward the shuttle port, the colony shimmering peacefully in the background, I realized something unexpected. I had arrived on this moon as an outsider, a walking joke with an oversized weapon. Now somehow I was leaving as someone respected, trusted, maybe even appreciated, not because of the cannon, but because I'd stayed when things got terrifying, because I'd tried, because I'd grown into someone who didn't panic and run, someone who chose to stand with people who needed him. As the shuttle engines hummed and the alien women watched from the platform, I lifted a hand in farewell. "Take care of your colony," I called. "And remember, potatoes are not weapons." Turquoise markings tilted her head. "We will research them thoroughly." "Please don't," I sighed. The ramp closed. The shuttle lifted. And for the first time on this side of the galaxy, I felt like I belonged somewhere.